Hi, it's Jackie Tantillo, host of Should Have Listened to My Mother podcast. Are you who you are today because of or in spite of your mother? I've come to understand and appreciate the significant role that mothers play in our lives. Not everyone was best suited to become a mom, but by sharing these personal experiences, we come to realize how much we have in common with each other. With over 4 decades of broadcast experience, interviewing iconic musicians, award-winning authors and journalists, entrepreneurs, artists, and more, these personal one-on-one conversations really get to the heart of the matter, to explore the essence of how, who, and why we became who we are today. I can't wait for you to hear this next episode. So glad you're joining me for another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother. Please tell a friend about us. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. And be sure to subscribe and or leave a review. That helped us win a 2024 People's Choice Podcast Award. And thanks always for your loyalty and support. I was thinking about my mom earlier today. We used to have a lot of fun with both my parents, but our father passed away in 2001, and we had our mom till 2014. She was always happy. She was happy to spend time with younger people. She loved the energy, the vibe, the conversations, the dreams. And Linda loved to laugh and sing and dance. You could tell when she was happy, for sure. She'd definitely be singing more when she was happy. She also had an innate ability to rely on having a positive attitude, even when it was tough. She was aware that she had to make that conscious effort to kind of shake it off or, get away from a sad or negative thought. And of course, I always laugh to myself when I tell my boys the same, when I give them the same advice. My guest, Roberto Capodieci, is joining us from Bali. He is Italian by birth and has lived in the United States and Singapore and I'm sure many other interesting places. He wasn't your average ordinary young child. By age 6, he was already well into coding, creating video games at 10, also a member of the Electronics Club and so much more. And that time he also took his first trip to Hong Kong with his dad at 10 years old. He calls himself an IT craftsman. He likes to know how each thing works down to the tiniest detail. He's a father, a husband, and his clients have said Roberto's exceptional knowledge is only surpassed by his kindness and willingness to support others. His passion lies in technology, Web3, blockchain, and decentralization, and innovation, and so much more. Roberto was very, very excited about joining us, and he's here to share stories about his mom. Roberto Capodieci, welcome to Should Have Listened to My Mother.
Thank you for the beautiful words in introducing me. Thank you for having me in your show. I'm very excited.
I've been saying your last name, Capodieci, for
it's
weeks.
It's perfect.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. You're all in on this tech thing, this computer thing, back in the day when they weren't as fancy schmancy as things are now. And I'm sure they're going to change quite a bit in the next, decades. But what was that like for your mom, Camilla, to have you always on a computer?
Well, that was the iPad of today's, a way to babysit the kids because I really was passing my time in front of this small screen, which has been a blessing because it built up my career. My mom, thinking about the basic programming language, she was always saying, I am a pre-basic. I come before this last innovation. But she spent a lot of years in the last year of her life sitting at the computer using, quite a few of the applications. So I would say that even though she was pre-basic, pre-computer era, she managed to, at a late age, learn how to use the computer and get out of a lot of interesting results by using it. So proud of her.
Now, are you good at teaching people, I'm assuming you are based on your incredible career, but were you good helping your mom on the computer? Because my boys kind of roll even my husband, they roll their eyes. The IT department is closed now, Jackie, because they're tired of answering my questions. I assume you were patient with your mom when she had questions?
I have to say, no, as I didn't live together in the same country when she started approaching computers, probably she got taught from my sister, and she approached the computer in a way that was so unique to her that it would have been damaging for me to teach her the correct way because she had her own unique way. But I have to say that as a kid, when I was making an application, I would sit her in front of the computer and she was able to find any problem with the application just by pressing random buttons and making it crash. So she was a good quality.
She was a good guinea pig or a good student. A lot of parents now are screaming at their kid to get off their screens, whether the telephone or the computer. She was open to you learning and creating, and God, you were way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, mostly because there was no idea and culture at the time that too much screen time could have been bad. But there is to say also that it wasn't screen time in front of silly video games or, scrolling social media. It was just there was no internet connection, so it was a brain exercise in coding, which was not a bad thing, I would say. So maybe, and I was still going out with friends, so it wasn't like only exclusively computer, but for sure several hours per day, yes.
Yeah, but it's very different from what we have today in the social media.
Yeah,
and that's kind of crazy. And you as a parent, maybe we'll talk about that later. How much do you allow your children to be on the computer? So not only is it fascinating to me that you are living in Bali and you've lived in Singapore and the U.S., you've been recognized by President Clinton for your accomplishments. What were you like as a kid other than your head into technology?
My mom was 42 years old when I was born, and my father was 44 years old. My brother and sister are 18 years older than me, so I had a sort of grandparents role more than direct parents, kind of role when I grew up, and I was very free to choose, free to go and do whatever I wanted, with the basis of understanding what was right, what was wrong. So I didn't put myself in trouble, or I didn't hang out with the wrong people, just because they gave me the basis to understand what was wrong. But it was very free, very, very free. So whatever I decide, pretty much I was good to go and and do it.
Well, they trusted you to go, right? And you must have proved to yourself. What's the age difference between you and your next sibling?
So the closest to me is 14, 15 years of difference.
So yeah, by the time you came around, they're like, okay, you're on your own, kid.
I think my second name must be something like, oops, something like that.
No. Were your older siblings, I think you have two older siblings?
Three.
Oh, so were they jealous of the freedom that you had and the liberties?
It is, yes. I think that there is being a little bit of that because they had to sweat a lot to get a little bit of, I think my father, mostly also my mom, at the beginning with the three of them, they were very, restrictive. They wouldn't let them go out to do things, like new parents tend to be with their kids, while I just did whatever. So that's probably, they didn't see it as something that I should have deserved. I should have sweat more for it, I guess.
Oh my gosh. That's so common in so many families with a large group of kids.
Yeah, right.
So did your parents spend the time talking to you and expressing how your behavior should be? I know they said, you're free to go do your thing, but do you remember having conversations if you ever made a mistake or if you did something wrong? Would it be screaming or Roberto, what are you
So,
thinking?
first of all, they never been violent physically with me, so I never been slapped or ever. And but with words, my father was way more. I could have like a half an hour conversation with my father and go out and think about being done with it because he was very powerful in his and being me intelligent. It was easy also to because if I had a limited capacity of understanding, words are not going to get deep inside. But when you're able to elaborate very well, and you have a very intelligent father as well, really he had a strong power with his word. Plus, I had unlimited respect for my father, so whatever he said to me was, for sure very important. My mom, on the other hand, she was more easygoing, but. I don't know. In some aspect, it's strange because when you're little, you look at your parents, and that's the absolute truth, right? The absolute state of things. When you grow older, mostly when you have kids on your own, then you start analyzing their behavior in a different way, and you start comparing your own role as a parent with those of your own parent, and then you start seeing things in a little different way. There was a few things that I wasn't very happy with, and I'm still not today. How they've been with me, but in the overall, they've been amazing parents, I will say. Yeah.
Did you get disciplined? You said there was no hitting or spanking or
No,
anything,
no,
but
yeah.
verbal. Did you have to do chores around the house? Roberto, get in here now, and nothing. You got away with murder.
No, not chores. Just not cleaning my room. That's another bad thing because it never disciplined me in doing it. So I had no somebody telling me go brush your teeth, do nothing of this. So whatever I do was okay. I think it was easier. It's easier for a parent to just take care and solve a problem very fast rather than sitting there and make your kid to solve the problem, right? So probably it was the easy choice to just clean up instead of making me clean up and so on and so forth, which left a little bit of a sign in growing up, so this. And also the fact that my parents, is something I really, I think is worth thinking this for any parents in listening this. I think that I've been accused of things that I didn't do, okay? I did do a lot of things I've never been accused of, so I think it balanced out with karma, but some stuff people blame me of this, and my parents just took what people said and went with it without even asking me if that was the case, why people are saying things, so I didn't had the chance to defend myself from accusations that were totally unfounded, and my parents didn't even think about asking me is this true or not or something like that, which is something I pay a lot of attention not to do with my kids because easily I receive news that somebody did this or did that, and I will just take my daughter and ask, is this the case? Is really would I've been told this? What you say about it? So that's an important thing in terms of conversation.
But so you wish they had asked you what had really happened or didn't happen? You wish that they
Absolutely.
had. Right.
Absolutely, yes. Because, I give you an example, I was in the Boy Scout, which has been one amazing experience in my life. Mm-hmm. And I had this friend, she was sick. So in the evening, I went to keep her company. And in her tent in the middle of the woods, her sleeping bag was the same like her best friend. So I was in the best friend's sleeping bag. Making it short, the chief of the scout came. They thought we were inside the same sleeping bag naked, which was not the case. I had no even idea. I was like 13 years old, something like that. And they called our parents saying that they caught us inside. Which was not true. And I was very far from it. And when my parents came pick me up, the only thing they say, you do these things only when you're 18 plus, without even asking me what happened, an explanation of things, because I absolutely had no done anything. And this thing remains as of today, my parents died convinced that has been the case because they would not listen to me or would think they would make excuses. I don't know what, but
that must have been hard for you, though, to never have your voice heard. you're thinking of it today, decades later. So it obviously
Absolutely,
left
yeah.
an impression. I love how you said how you're so conscious of it that you actually make a point of talking to your children.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, probably if it didn't happen to me, I wouldn't behave in this way. I don't know, behave like them. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, surely. I'm still waiting that the Boy Scout chief comes and apologize with me for this. It's
Oh,
gonna
maybe
happen
he'll
before.
hear this podcast. Oh my gosh, that's very funny. So tell us a little bit more about your mom. What kind of personality did she have? Was she an artist? Did she love to cook? What made her happy?
All right. Oh, my mom comes from a noble family, barons in Italy. This is the strange things. Consider that I never been told this. I discovered by chance because we were holidaying in the mountains and somebody came asking for the baroness, and I says there is no such thing here. Sorry. And when my mom came back, I said, somebody came asking for baroness, and I sent them away. They must be crazy. She says, no, grandma is the baroness. What you say? And then I learned that we had this noble branch of the family, which is we don't have the king anymore, so it's something that is just remaining leftover things that's no value whatsoever. But the education that such a family would have given to their kids, consider my mom went through the Second World War as well, and luckily being in a wealthy family, so they could have access to food and things as well, but still, living different kind of moment of society. So it would shape a personality that is very interesting. So she would never throw away 1 gram of leftover food, but overuse it for the next day. I love the joke. Somebody says, my wife does something amazing with leftover food, she throws it away, which I think is a good advice. But so she had this thing about we had a very strong no waste to preserve everything, keep using things until they're super destroyed. So which financially could afford a better kind of lifestyle, but we were stuck on this. On the other hand, the capacity to enjoy simple things, just a walk in the countryside. My mom brought me with a bicycle to up to 97 kilometers long rides in one day, sometime as a little kid, yeah.
Wow.
And so she really gave me this joy of exploring and going around adventure, which has been very, very nice. So I owe her this for sure. The fact that I'm in Indonesia now probably has those roots back to when I was 5 years old.
Yeah, she instilled you to think outside the box. So was it like a movie, her childhood, ballet lessons, horseback riding, piano, French, Italian, Spanish lessons, hanging out with ambassadors, and was that the extent?
I don't think so. But for sure, a very beautiful house in the city, very important name. A lot of big construction in the city are being my grandfather. So she had a circle of connection of friends that were, more important, which linked down to generation after, as of today. So. That's what made different, I think, approach to life compared to somebody that had less opportunities of sort.
And where did she grow up? In a city?
In the mainland of Venice, Italy.
Yes. Wow.
So Venice, there is the canals and the gondola. That's the city in the water. But the same city, same major, same things, as also a big chunk inland, and that's where people actually live. Most of the people. So.
How did she meet your father? Did her family have to approve of your dad, or?
This is another very interesting story. That's actually very interesting because Italy, as a single country, is not very old. It's like 170 years old, I think, only. Before it was many different, countries, sort of. And the south of Italy, the north of Italy are very, very different. So the government, in order to try to mix people up, they were sending, the army was compulsory in the past. So when you join the army, if you're from the north, they will will send you to the south. If you're from the south, they'll send you to the north. And then they're going to organize a party and things with the local people, so that in the hope that a lot of mixed couple will, come to be. And there was a point where they're giving a lot of money for a newlywed couple where they were mixed, like something like 60,000 US dollars of today, or even more, because I think it was 40 million lira. So I don't know if my parents got those monies or not, I don't know, but they met because my father was in the army, and he been stanced in Venice, and there has been events where they were dancing and so on, and they met there. Funny enough,
Piazza San Marco in Venice, under the stars and the moon.
yeah. It is also very favorable as a romantic place to get to know somebody when it helps a lot. I guess.
Absolutely. Was education important to her? Did she complete higher education?
Yeah. Both my parents were into mathematics, and my mom went to study at university math and another subject in another, but she didn't finish the university. So my father also was a self-taught, but was really amazing. You can tell him like two 20-digit numbers, and he can calculate the multiplication of the two numbers by mind without writing down. It was a little bit scary, the things he could do.
And what about your mom? Did she work? Did she use her college experience?
No, she been a housewife and mother full time. When past 60, my father died. She was more free alone. She started doing volunteering tour guide in Venice, because it's very expensive to get a tour guide. So when there are groups that can afford, they get a volunteer to tour guide them. And so she started learning a little bit of English, and then she started also teaching English, which was embarrassing because she could barely talk it. But interesting enough, she did that. And
what other languages did she speak?
Yeah, that's it. A little bit of English and Italian, and the local dialect, which is a beautiful language as well.
How long have you not been living in Italy? Decades?
Yeah, most of my life has been outside Italy, because I left the first time at 18 years old, coming back very often, and then less and less often. I always flew for Christmas to be with the family, or summer, small holidays, so 2-3 times per year. Since my mom passed 1 year ago, I stopped going. So last Christmas I didn't go. I'm not gonna go this Christmas as well, because that was the last glue that kept things together. Sure. And gone that there is no more.
But you have maybe wonderful memories and experiences to share with your children. So there's always another reason to go back.
Absolutely.
Did your mom regret you picking up and leaving? I assume you moved for work.
No, I moved because I didn't want to be there. When my mom, she had a very big apartment in the center of the city, but it was at the third story with no elevator, because it was an historical building, so no elevators. So she purchased herself a smaller apartment in a little bit in the outskirts of the city, and she prepared the room for me, and she made it sound like I was condemned for spending the rest of my life just to be there and taking care of her, which really put a booster for me to just be on the other side of the planet, safe from that role, because with the love of the planet, I wouldn't have, not with my personality, been able to stay there. I have to say that I owe a lot to my brother and sisters that actually been there for my mother for many years to help her do shopping and things when she wasn't able to do it. But
when she wanted you to come in and do something, how would she call to you? What would she say?
No, she was very respectful of not forcing somebody. She would make it, some between the lines that she want to, the help on something. She wasn't very direct. The big drama was when you try to leave. If you are there, you say, I'm going to be here 2 hours. When 2 hours are left, you are opening the door to leave, and she will start telling you a story that will take half an hour to tell, like, no, mama, let me go, but probably was her way to say, no, stay, little bit more with me, which should have been appreciated at the time. Now that it cannot be done anymore,
Is your mom's presence stronger to you now that she's gone? Do you think of her often, every day, every couple of times a day, or?
No, every day that would be something I would discuss with the doctor because it would be too much. But I would say often enough for me because even with my daughters here, sometimes we're calling my mom so she will be able to do Skype and see or something like this. Or just sometimes just to update her on the latest things, even though she wasn't really putting it together super well, but she was still okay. And sometimes I find myself still today that I want to call her, and then I realize I cannot call her, something like that.
That's true. Well, they can talk to her, right? I think my mom's with me all the time. My dad, I talk to them all the time. People might think I'm crazy, but it's just great for me to keep them nearby.
It's a beautiful way to cope and manage things. Absolutely. Yeah.
Would you say your mom had a sunny disposition?
What do you mean with this?
Was she bright and cheery?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, never so. I am very humorous. I hardly can do serious talking. I'm very joking, and a lot of friends of mine, when I was bringing them to my home, when we lived, they says, now I understand where you get it from. My mom was absolutely, fantastic sense of humor, and always a good reason to be happy and smile. But I think this is the key to be happy in life. Everybody should have. It shouldn't be an exclusivity of a few people.
Yeah. Was she a prankster? Would she play little tricks on?
Yes, absolutely. She made my, early years of my life magic. I had a special place where I can talk for a desire of something, of a candy or something, and this thing will fall out of the sky. They made me. This is thanks also to the fact that my brother and sister were older, so they were accomplices of my mother. Because my sister said, "What did you ask?" I don't tell anybody, so they knew what make appear exactly to match my secret request. And I had for sure a fantastic time. I saw Santa Claus when he was leaving once,
wow.
all those things that no every kid has the luck to have a team of adults to create the situation. So this has been amazing for sure. And then as I grew up, she did a lot of prank surprises, other things, but not every day, but quite often. Pretty fun.
What was her biggest dream for you?
Yeah, and this is she never understood that I am a person and I could take care of my things. I don't know why. I've been embarrassed sometime when I started running my company since I was a very little kid. I mean, at 14, I had the first registered legal company with authorization of the Court of Minors. I've been invoicing, been making a lot of money. Obviously, as an entrepreneur, I had up and downs, but sometime I would introduce her a new business partner, and my mom would go something like, "Please take care of Roberto. You need to pay attention." Roberto is making me sound like I was, somebody that need help or support. But she has always this view that I by myself would not be, able to be okay, probably, or something like this.
She worried about you if you would be okay or if you'd make it. Well, that's a mom. But, moms are pretty good at that worry, right?
Well, yeah, for sure, with some limits, at least, I guess. I don't know, but that was there in the way of loving me to make sure that I was okay, for sure. I appreciate that.
And what role did she play in your life? Or what was the significant essence of her being for you?
She had this magic thing of maybe experiencing life, of looking at somebody and saying, "Roberto, don't do business with this person, he's going to scam you." And I'm like, "What you say is fantastic, Roberto, don't." And sure enough, she was always right, to the point that make me nervous because, I wanted to prove her wrong sometimes. So I went on the opposite direction just to, at the end, prove her right. Even when I introduced girls, funny enough, I had this girlfriend, she was Congolese, mom and dad from Congo, but she was born in France. Mm-hmm. And being very traditionalist in Italy. It's not like in the United States that there is any sort of people around in terms of races like this. In Italy, the first time I saw somebody wasn't Caucasian, I was 14 years old to say. So most older Italian people are very I wouldn't say racist, but they want to keep things. They are a little bit discriminatory. But yet, my mom, when she met this girl, she told me, Roberto, marry her immediately, which was interesting. And she was right. This girl was amazing. Sure enough, it didn't happen. But
you did marry her, or you did not marry her?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, I wish I had, but I did not.
Okay. You're married now, aren't you?
I've been married many times. Yes, I'm married now. I'm an amazing wife, and we have together this 4-year-old girl. She actually just turned 4 years old like a week ago.
Congratulations. And, happy birthday.
Yeah. I have another 2 that are 16 and 14, soon to become 17 and 15, that also living with me because my ex-wife left both me and the kids. So I've been blessed to being a single father for many years with these 2 kids living with me, which has been quite an incredible experience as well. And then I have another one that is 32 years old. He lives with his girlfriend, and I'm gonna become grandparents in January for the first time.
Congratulations! Do you speak to your children in Italian?
I do, but I don't understand the word of what I say.
Oh, what a wonderful opportunity to help them learn another language.
My son by himself is studying Italian without saying anything to anybody. And, I guess Italian is not a very useful language. I mean, my firstborn lives in Italy, is Italian 100%, so I speak to him in Italian, obviously. But with the other ones, even though all of them have Italian passport, they cannot speak Italian. So English is our first language.
Wow, amazing. I would love to ask you these brilliant questions about what you do, but it's kind of a foreign language to me. So I know it's got to do with blockchain and decentralization and keeping things secure and innovation. Tell us how people can contact you. I know you're on LinkedIn, Roberto Capodieci.
My LinkedIn handle is RC10. So it's linkedin.com/IN RC10, or the short link to my website is rcx.it. So that's the 2 easy way to know how to rcx.it and RC10 in LinkedIn. And what I do in very simple words is just emerging technologies, things that are very complex. I try to make them more simple for people that need to use them.
Are these your companies, or are you a consultant?
I never been employed. Either I do consulting for companies, or I start my own company, or I'm business partner with a company. Yeah.
Very impressive. Yeah. You obviously love what you do.
Yeah, correct. That's the biggest blessing, I guess, in life.
You don't work a day in your life if you love what you do. Right?
Pretty much.
If you didn't go into this technology and computers, what would you be doing today?
I will be a stand-up comedian, I think. Maybe.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes. Well, you could do that in your free time, too,
It's not easy to do it professionally. It's not easy. I went to one of those open mic things that there are, and the first time I went, huge applause, super amazing success. They called me back. The second time, they were booing me after 3 seconds I was on stage, which closed the opportunity for me to try again. But one day I will.
Oh, you can't quit just with one evening of booze. You got to have a thick skin to be a comedian, that's for sure. It takes that's tough. But you know what? You're happy making people laugh, so that's what's important.
Yeah. That was a common theme with my mom at home. We were always laughing when we were sitting at lunch. It was is the biggest medicine to smile and be happy and laugh, I think. So that's what also my mom always repeated, and I think is absolutely true. So That's something that is important. Whatever I do, I have to do it with a smile and with a joke in the middle if I can.
Oh, the smile was very important in our house for sure. Oh my gosh.
Right.
Roberto, I'm so glad we got to do this. And I thank
Yeah.
you for joining me. And you know what? Maybe we'll do another conversation down the line too if you think of more great stories to share.
Sure, I am always available. I will say thank you also in behalf of my mom Camilla. I think that is gave her a sparkle of energy to wherever she is, and it's always important to keep remembering and talking people that is no more with us. So that's pretty good. Thank you again for the opportunity.
I can see her
Right.
smiling. And in case you're looking for Roberto's last name, the spelling is Capo and like the number 10 in Italian, Dieci.
Right, correct.
We stayed in Capodacqua in Umbria, beautiful little town.
Oh, fantastic.
So Capodieci is very beautiful to say. Thank you so much, Roberto. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much again.
And we'll be back next week with another episode of Should Have Listened to My Mother. Ciao.